Hello everyone. In this video we're going to learn how to make your program more creative using artistic effects, use functions to make your code reusable and more readable, properly name your items in your code to increase readability. So let's jump in. The turtle has been drawing lots of designs, but all of them have been black. Let's bring some color into turtle's world. To do so we can simply type the word color and then a color name in a quotation marks inside the parentheses. Turtle and its tail will change to that color for all future commands. You can see the list of many colors that we can use, but there are many more colors beyond this list. To get a sense of how many color names are available, here are a few shades of blue you can still call. Try any color you wish to see if the turtle knows it. If not, it won't give you an error. It will just default back to black. Another command we can use to change the way turtle draws lines is the pen size command. We call the phrase pen size and then put a number in a parenthesis. Any positive number can be used. The more value of the number, the thicker our pen becomes. If we want to draw a shape and fill it in, we can use the begin fill and end fill commands. We call the begin fill command before drawing our shape, which is a circle in this example, but could also be any closed shape, and when turtle's trail crosses over itself, the shape inside will be filled in with whatever color was chosen. Use the end fill command to stop turtle from filling in shapes. In our first example, we are asked to draw a star. Each side is a different color and the pen size is 5 pixels. We want every side of our star to be a different color, so we are going to need to draw each line individually. First, let's use our pen size command to set the pen size to 5 and change turtle's color to red. Now we are ready to start drawing our star. We know turtle needs to move forward 100, but then how many degrees does it need to turn? Well, if you have completed the start task before the first lesson, you know that it is 144 degrees. So let's just add that. Now we are going to repeat these steps 5 times to make our star, so we may think that we can just use a loop. But since we are changing to a different color every time, a loop won't work. So let's just copy and paste these commands and we can just change the color each time we use it. And that's all 5 sides of our star. Let's run our code to see the result. Everything is good. Now let's draw a square, which needs to be filled in with orange color. First of all, we must use color orange, begin fill, and then use for loop command. In the loop, we draw a line of 100 pixels with forward command, and then turn right for 90 degrees. And we can finish our code with the end fill command. Now let's see how it works. Everything seems to be correct. Now let's learn how to use functions to make our code reusable and more readable. Let's take a look for another example, where we need to draw 3 squares in a row, each one with different colors. The 3 loops that we must write to solve these problems are exactly the same. What if we are going to make 7 squares in a row? We would need to write that loop over and over every time we needed to use it. This is where functions can help make our lives much easier. Functions are a way to group a set of commands so they can be called with one line of code. They are basically a way to teach the turtle new commands using the ones it already understands. Functions are very beneficial to us as coders. Functions only have to be defined once and then can be called as many times as we want with a single line of code. They make our code reusable by allowing us to repeat a set of commands anytime we would like. Functions also break our code up into smaller parts, which increases readability. We use descriptive function names to make it known to the user what this piece of code is achieving. Before you can use a function, you must define it. This includes giving it a name and telling Turtle what commands you want to perform when you call that function. To write a function definition, we start by using the term def and then typing the name of our function followed by a pair of parentheses and a colon. All of the commands we want the turtle to perform when we call our function must be intended underneath the function definition. Let's look back at our 3 squares program. Our turtle knows circle function, so each time we will call it, the turtle will draw a circle. But if we call square command, there will be an error, because our turtle doesn't know this function yet. but we can define this function in the beginning of our program after importing the turtle library. To define this function, we need to name it, for example, square. Like we already discussed, it will be easy for you if you put your pen down before you want to draw something, and after you have completed drawing, put your pen up. Also, you will write begin fill command before the loop and end fill command after it, because you want to paint your figures in different colors. Now let's take a closer look at the indentations. Our loop is being initialized on line 5 and is indented because it's part of the function. Lines 6 and 7 are indented twice, because one indent is to show that these commands are under the loop, and the second indent is to show that they are also under the function. In the end, after the penup command, we will write forward 100, which will allow us to go to the next position after drawing a square. Now we must set our starting position. Let's calculate it. 3 squares in a row with 100 pixels length each will give us 300 pixels length. And if we want these figures to be centered, first of all we must go backward for half of its length, which is 150 pixels. Then simply we call the color red command and our square command after it. Then we copy the last two lines of code 2 times and change colors to green and blue. That's all. Now we have completed this task. Let's check, and everything is correct. To be clear, defining a function does not mean that Turtle will follow any of the commands yet. The Turtle will only complete the function when it's called. So if you look at our code, the first command that Turtle will actually follow will be penup, backward, and color. Only after that we can see that the function draw a square is being called. We are then calling our function 2 more times. It's very important to remember that functions cannot be called unless they have been defined earlier in the code. If you don't tell the turtle what you want to do when you draw a square, it won't recognize this phrase and will respond with an error. Before we finish our lesson, let's take a closer look at how to properly name our items to increase readability. Anytime we name something, we want to make sure that the name is descriptive. It means that when someone reads the name in our code, they should make an educated guess as to what it is used for. Also, our names cannot include any spaces. So if you want to use a name that has more than one word, put an underscore between the words. We don't use capital letters in our Python codes, so make sure all names include lowercase letters. If you want to start a name with a number, Turtle will respond with an error. So you must move the number to another place or write it out using letters. If we need to give a function a name, can we use a name like myFunction? Actually, we don't want to use this name because it does not describe what our function does. Let's take a look at some better function name examples. If I want to make a function that will draw a 1 dash in a dashed line, I might want to call it make a dash, but these words must be connected with underscores. If I want to make a function that will draw a star, I would like to name it star, but be sure that all your letters are lowercase. If I have a function that will draw 3 squares will be a good idea to name it. But our names cannot start with numbers. So instead, you may write out this number. It's important to follow these rules when writing a code in Python. Keep these guidelines in mind when you want to give a name to the item in your code. So let's sum up. In this lesson, we have learned a lot of new commands that will allow us to draw more creative images with Turtle. Also, we have learned how to declare and call functions. Refer to the example to help you use functions to solve some Turtle challenges of your own, and we understood how to properly name our functions. Use these commands and those you have already learned to complete the next set of Turtle exercises. See you next lesson.